Good morning, welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. Storm Ashley will bring strong winds and heavy rain to much of the UK today, with amber and yellow weather warnings in force. The area of rain that we can see out there at the moment continues to push its way eastwards through this morning, but it's in western parts of Scotland that we'll see those strongest winds today. Gusts of 70 to 80 miles an hour are possible, but even along Irish Sea coastal regions, we could still see those gusts of 50 to 60 miles an hour. As that rain band pushes its way eastwards, it will turn a little drier across much of England and Wales, and temperatures still above average for the time of year, though definitely feeling cooler than we saw yesterday. As we then go into this evening, we start to see a further area of rain moving in from the northwest as we go through Sunday evening. This affecting parts of Northern Ireland and particularly parts of Scotland, where we could see some heavy downpours over the high ground. Turning a little more showery as we go further east, but those outbreaks of rain do continue across parts of Northern Ireland through the evening, so perhaps leading to some localised flooding in places. For much of England and Wales, though, it will be a mostly dry end to the day on Sunday. Perhaps still a little cloud and rain just lingering in the very far southeast for a time, but that clearing its way eastwards as we go into the early hours of Monday morning. Still remaining very wet and blustery across much of Scotland and Northern Ireland, and the winds gradually easing as we go through the early hours of Monday, but still remaining very windy to start the day. It will be quite a mild start to the day on Monday as well. Temperatures generally remaining in the double figures for most places, particularly where that cloud persists overnight, and still remaining very blustery to start on Monday. But those winds will gradually start to ease as we go through the day, though the showers still pushing in from the west, spreading their way eastwards through the morning. A little cloudier across the very far south of England. Got this next area of rain just skirting along the very far southeast coast as we go through the afternoon. So a bit of a damp end to the day here and plenty of showers elsewhere, with temperatures a little closer to average for the time of year, 15 or 16 in the south and around 12 or 13 further north.
Now, Storm Ashley is going to hit parts of the UK. The Met Office warning that there is a danger to life.
Yeah, this comes as the Great North Run, I think, has been cancelled due to safety concerns.
Let's talk to weather journalist Nathan Rao, who joins us. Good to see you, Nathan. Just how bad is Ashley going to be and where?
Right, well, as Ellie mentioned, there is an amber warning out for Ashley. I mean, a lot of the country is in for a very bumpy ride today as Ashley blows in from the Atlantic. The amber warning is in northwest Scotland for wind gusts of up to 80 miles per hour, and that is really what this danger to life warning is about, particularly around exposed regions and around the coast. But really the whole of the country is going to have a very wet and windy day today. The wind warning is the particular concern, and that is what triggers the storm names and the warnings, and it's down the west coast of the UK where these winds are going to be strongest, and that is up to, as I said, 80 mile per hour gusts, but 50 to 70 mile per hour further inland. There is also a rain warning in place across the southwest. So yes, a very, very wet and windy day for the first storm of the season. It's come quite late in the season. The storm season starts in September. We're now in the middle of October, but Ashley is going to arrive and sort of make up for lost time. Quite a powerful storm system moving through today and into the early hours of tomorrow.
Clearly, even though it's going to be concentrated further north, the south is going to feel it because we've heard that the Great South Run, I mistakenly said north earlier, it's the Great South Run, which happens in Portsmouth, has been cancelled because of the forecast of high winds and rain. So clearly the organisers feel it's just going to make life down there, even in Portsmouth, impossible today.
Yes, it is. I mean, this is the first storm of the season, but it's a particularly powerful storm. As in the run-up to this storm arriving, meteorologists and experts were talking about something called explosive cyclogenesis. To put it into layman's terms, in the media, we often call this a weather bomb, which means a very, very rapid and intense strengthening of this storm. So even though it's coming into the northwest of the country, the impacts of it are going to be felt really across the whole of the UK through today. And if you look at some of the satellite images, and for people like me, this is fascinating, it looks like it's coming loaded with a sting jet. And what a sting jet is, it's a very, very, very rapid core of air that makes these storms even more powerful and even more dangerous. So yes, the whole of the country is going to be affected by this storm throughout the day. The warnings are in place right the way throughout the day and in Scotland through the early hours of tomorrow. And it's going to have some impact. If you're travelling today, definitely worth looking at the weather forecasts and looking at the travel advisories. And if you're going to events today, yes, certainly, as you mentioned with the sporting events, there may well be events cancelled or impacted by the storm as it moves through into the early hours of tomorrow.
Is it a sign of things to come, do we think, in the run-up to Christmas?
It may well be. Now, I've had a look at the Met Office's 3-month contingency planner, which is a planner they put out to warn authorities about potential weather events. And it's saying there's a slightly increased chance of more windy weather in the next couple of months, actually, in the run-up to December. Now, this windy weather is always driven, Stephen, as you know, our favourite thing, the jet stream. And the jet stream is particularly strong, and it steers windy and wet and stormy systems in from the Atlantic, but it can also strengthen them. In fact, the storm Ashley, it's the jet stream that is responsible for strengthening this storm so rapidly. The storm has moved from the warmer side of the jet stream to the colder side of the jet stream, and that has caused a rapid intensification. And if we stay in the path of this jet stream through the coming weeks, and there's no suggestion that we wouldn't stay in this Atlantic jet streamy period, then yes, it may be a sign of things to come. And we are, after all, in the storm season. The storm season ends in December, so there's always going to be a risk of wet and windy, stormy weather right through to the run-up to Christmas.
That sounds as though it's just sort of going to be pretty bleak, wet and windy right through November.
Doesn't sound very good, does it?
No.
I mean, after this storm has passed through, the Met Office's medium range forecast is saying a bit more unsettled weather to come, but no more storms in the forecast in the foreseeable future. But yes, there's always a risk. In fact, over the past few years, when I've been covering weather during the Christmas, late autumn, winter period, it's always been more stormy and wet and windy rather than cold and snowy, which usually comes in the beginning of the year, January, February, even early spring period. So, into storm period. Storm Ashley, is it a harbinger of something to come? I don't know, but best to keep on watch and look out for any more to come.
Oh. So it's going to be a wet Christmas, not a white Christmas.
Well, when do we ever get a white one?
Well, I know.
That reminds me.
This far in advance, it's always very risky to put on.
That reminds me. Are you on snowflake watch this year?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we're always on snowflake watch. We're in the middle of October now, so I imagine we'll start thinking of things like, am I going to be brave enough to say the words white Christmas? Probably in around the next 4 or 5 weeks or so, but certainly snowflake watch.
I can't believe we're talking about Christmas.
Not so far away.
It is a bit early to talk about Christmas. We haven't even had Halloween yet.
It's nearly November.
I know, that one's on me, my bad.
No.
Yeah.
All right, Nathan, good to see you. Thanks very much indeed. No, Nathan's one of those people who actually has to look out for snowflakes on Christmas Day.
It's his job too.
So, if there is technically a white Christmas...
but there's always a snowflake somewhere, isn't there?
No, always. Because you can put bets on it.
Really?
Yeah.
There's a snowflake somewhere in Britain, in the Peak District or something. Or
There's rules.
OK, all right.